Hey there, AP Seminar teachers. If you've ever felt like you're trying to navigate this incredible but kind of complex course on your own, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to break down how you can unlock the power of AP Classroom and use it as your ultimate toolkit. Let's dive in. Right off the bat, you can see AP Seminar isn't your typical content-based AP course. It is all about the skills. I mean, look at this breakdown. The final exam is a big chunk, sure, at 45%, but that means a massive 55% of a student's final score comes from these performance tasks they're working on all year long. The stakes are high from day one. So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the core challenge and opportunity of the course. Then we'll deconstruct each of those big assessments. After that, we'll connect the dots directly to your toolkit in AP Classroom. We'll also get crystal clear on your critical role as a facilitator, and then we'll wrap it all up by talking about how to empower authentic student research. You know, the biggest challenge in AP Seminar is also what makes it so amazing. We're asking students to move beyond just memorizing facts for a test. We're teaching them how to actually think like researchers, how to build a rock-solid argument from the ground up, and how to analyze really complex information. These are skills they'll use for the rest of their lives. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of those three pillars that make up the final score. Really understanding each part is the absolute first step to guiding your students. We're going to kick things off with the first major project they'll tackle, the team performance task. All right, performance task 1. It's worth 20% of their score, and it's a team effort with two distinct parts. First, each student writes their own 1,200-word individual research report, or IRR. Then they come together for a team multimedia presentation and defense. Now, here's the part you really need to notice. The College Board scores that individual paper, but you, the teacher, score the team presentation. And here is a date you need to circle in bright red on your calendar, May 10th. This is a hard deadline. It's when you have to submit your scores for those team presentations. And, just as importantly, when you have to attest but each student's IRR is their own authentic work in the AP Digital portfolio. Next up is the big one. Performance Task 2 is entirely individual, and it's a massive 35% of the final score. The College Board provides a set of stimulus materials, and from there, students have to develop their own research question, write a 2,000-word individual written argument, and then give a presentation and an oral defense, both of which you get to score. And remember that May 10th deadline? Well, it applies here too. It's a huge day. All of your scores for the individual presentation and the oral defense, plus your attestations for the written argument, have to be submitted in the digital portfolio by that same date. And finally, we have the end-of-course exam, which is the last 45%. It's a 2-hour test with 2 parts. In Part A, students get 30 minutes to dissect an argument. Then in Part B, they have 90 minutes to take at least 2 of 4 sources and build their own argument. You can see how this is basically the final test of all the skills they've been practicing all year. Okay, so we've laid out all of these big, complex tasks. And you might be thinking, how do I teach all of this? Well, don't worry. You're not on your own. This is where AP Classroom becomes your best friend. It's not just a collection of stuff. It's a targeted support system with short, focused AP daily videos for just about every skill your students will ever need. Let's get practical. Say you're getting your students ready for Part A of the exam, and they're just not getting it. They're struggling to trace an author's line of reasoning. What do? You already know the answer. Of course there's a video for that. In fact, there are a bunch. Instead of you having to create a whole new lesson from scratch, you can just assign UAA Video 4 to break down what a line of reasoning even is, or use ESE Video 6 to teach source credibility. They're like perfect, targeted mini lessons you can plug right into your class. All right, here's another one we've all seen. Your students are working on that huge individual written argument, and they're just stuck, staring at that blinking cursor on a blank page, totally overwhelmed by the thought of writing 2,000 words. And yep, once again, AP Classroom has your back. You can use ESA Video 2 to show them different ways to structure their argument, or maybe assign ESA Video 6 to teach that really sophisticated skill of addressing counterarguments. This is huge. These aren't just tutorials. This is expert instruction, on demand, right when you and your students need it the most. So now that we've seen all these incredible resources, let's talk about you. Your role in this course is so unique and so important. This is probably one of the biggest mindset shifts you have to make. You are not the director of their projects. You are the facilitator of their learning. Getting that distinction right is everything. This slide is basically your cheat sheet. These are the guardrails. You absolutely should be holding meetings, teaching skills to the whole class, and pointing them toward good resources. But, and this is critical, you cannot assign their research question, you can't rewrite their sentences, and you can't proofread their paper. You are their guide, their coach, you are not their editor. And if you're wondering just how serious your role is, listen to this quote, straight from the College Board. Students will receive a 0 for the IRR if the attestation is not completed by the teacher. The same goes for the IWA. Let that sink in. A 0. This isn't just paperwork, a student's entire score is on the line. Now, with all the new AI tools out there, authenticity is more important than ever. To help you out, the College Board has built in a few required checkpoints. Think of it as a simple 3-step process. First, students turn in a source log. Second, you have a quick chat with them about their process. And third, you review their final paper to make sure it's their work before you submit that final attestation. So let's bring it all home. Your entire mission in this course is to empower your students to become real, independent researchers. Your job is to be their guide on that journey. An AP Classroom, with that huge library of AP Daily videos, is the powerful toolkit that supports you every single step of the way. Look, you have the map of the assessments, you know the critical deadlines, and you have a direct link to a full library of resources to help with any skill your students are struggling with. You are absolutely ready to lead your students to success in AP Seminar. So, I'll leave you with this final question to think about. With this roadmap and all these tools at your disposal, how are you going to design your course to help turn your students into the critical, curious, and authentic researchers you know they can be?